The town of Hinton respectfully acknowledges that it's located on the First Peoples traditional lands. We recognize this traditional territory to show respect and understanding to those who have walked this land since time immemorial. Today, we uphold our ongoing responsibility to work together in the spirit and the intent of the treaties of all First Peoples and nations that call this place home. The town expresses gratitude for the opportunity to build a better community on these sacred lands for generations to come. And with that, I call the regular council meeting of March 3rd, 2026 to order. First business is the adoption of the agenda. Council, any changes? Administration, any changes or additions?
No changes from administration.
Councillor Chambers.
I'd like to move that we accept the agenda for the regular council meeting of March 3rd, 2026 as presented.
All right, council. That's the easiest one we're going to have on the floor today, so please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Next order of business, we need to approve some minutes. So council, Councillor Charlton.
I would like to move that we pass the minutes for a regular council meeting of February 17th and committee of the whole meeting minutes for February 24th, 2026.
Anybody want to debate that one? Okay, I called the question. Please vote. And I didn't get a note beforehand, Ms. Leesmaster. Do we have anybody wishing to do a minute with council?
We do not.
Thank you. All right, then it's on to presentations, and we welcome Mondi here. It's everybody's favorite topic in Hinton. So Jennifer and Naranjan, please join us.
Hello all. I'm Jennifer Bays. I'm the Sustainability and Technology Director at Mondi. I've been a Hintonite for 30 years and I've been at the mill for 30 years. I've been in pulp and paper for about 36 years. We're here twofold, really. One is because we want to continue our ongoing good relationship with the town of Hinton. I believe, Mayor, you've already been to talk with Paul a few times.
Many times.
Our project.
Yeah.
We work quite closely with Jordan. And so this is just part formality and part just to continue on with that relationship. The formality part is because part of our project is a new generator and a new power generating station. We work with the Alberta Utilities Commission, and this is part of the stakeholder engagement. So many of our townspeople have received letters from us talking about the project. And really what we're only talking about is that power generation part. So TG and a power boiler. The rest of the project, I'm not here to talk about, but I'm happy to answer any questions about and give you an update on. So part of the AUC process that we're under right now is, first of all, we did an environmental assessment. So you look at things like noise levels, air, impact on biodiversity on the land. And so we've gone through that portion already. And now we're doing public consultation, and this is what this is part of. The project entails, and so we're going to just talk a little bit more about the project. So a power boiler where we would be burning biomass. So burning biomass not only from HWP, so the sawmill, but we're also looking at biomass that would be on the land. So these are the haystacks that people are concerned about that, typically on an FMA gets burned. We would also be with the project, of course, the paper machine is part of it. That's not part of this consultation process right now, but that's part of the project. And then a general upgrade to the mill. So we're looking at what do we need to do to then sustain that paper machine, biomass boiler, and the rest of the mill. So that's really what we want to talk about. I can talk a little bit about who Mondi is. So Mondi is an Austrian-based company. We have offices in London as well, where we are on the London Stock Exchange. We have 24 different mills, operate in 100 different areas. And the reason that they looked at Alberta in particular was access to stable fiber. That is one of the reasons right now that the project is on hold. So I'm sure everybody knows we put an announcement that the project's on hold. It was to be approved and starting construction this year. But what we're doing instead is bringing the project up to shelf ready, so we can just pick up and go when economic conditions improve. Tariffs are a little bit more stable. But to go back to why Mondi bought Hinton is because access to fiber and then access to North America. So that's certainly a concern right now with the tariffs. The whole business plan is that we have converting mills in the United States, in South America, and in Mexico, and this is a direct line to that. So the project is not out of sight. It's just on hold until those conditions change. In the meantime, we are running really well. That mill has never run so well. But if you look at that chip pile that used to silhouette the mill, it's gone. So we're running pretty much hand to mouth with that. And that's a little more than I really wanted to talk about today, but I just wanted to give you that overview and let you know that we are looking at building the generator, and this is part of the AUC process. Is there anything that, any questions I can answer?
I knew Councillor Nelson would have a question.
Is the intent to have more of an opportunity to sell electricity back to the grid? I know it's happened on and off in the past, but
Yes. So right now we are a net importer. We usually take about 5 megs off the grid. Previously, we were a net exporter, but when we reduced the size of the mill, we started importing. The project is to make us neutral. So we will not export and we will not import. We will need with this project the opportunity if, for instance, the paper machine goes down, it's a big draw of, it's about 14 megawatts. We would need to be able to put that power onto the grid momentarily.
cool. I have one more if nobody else has it.
Let her go.
With the biomass, is there opportunities to take biomass outside of your own sources? Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I'll jump in then, I guess. With it going back onto the grid then, that's part of this approval process then would be approval of the system you're putting in place, because I know there's all kinds of regulations as far as anybody who's going to supply into the grid. Is that part of this
There's
process?
actually 2 processes for that.
Okay.
So this process is just about the power generation on site. If we build a transmission line that goes back onto the grid, then it's a second process, and we would be undertaking a very similar undertaking. Yeah.
But if
So-
you need to deliver that back into the system, say on a shutdown, then that's something that's,
Yes, and so
going to have to happen.
yes, it is. So we have to do a consultation with the AESO, and they have to look at the whole power grid and say, okay, Hinton Pulp at any moment could export 20 megawatts onto the grid. They have to understand what that's going to do to the whole supply in Alberta. So but that's a second process, and we're not undertaking that yet.
Okay. Council, anyone else? Well, that was really easy. Thank you for your time. And we look forward to getting the green light on Husky, so obviously. All right, then on to action items. And our first action item is council contingency, and maybe we could have administration introduce that.
Thank you, through the mayor to the rest of council. Before you today is a request for council to consider a one-off financial request to cover the venue-related costs for funeral services that are scheduled this Thursday here in Hinton. According to the information provided, a total maximum cost was estimated for this, and it was broken down as follows: hall rental being $695, bar area $200, setup and takedown, including chairs and tables, $500, equipment and stage $250, and for some equipment, another $60. With a total of being provided $1,705 as an estimate. In addition to that information, through the fees that were attached to the agreement, it was noted that the hall rental might actually be $595, not the $695. What administration is recommending as a potential motion for council to consider is that council approve a monetary donation in an amount not exceeding $1,705 to cover the memorial service venue rental cost from the council contingency fund. And there is a GL code number provided as well. And that's all the information I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Council? Councillor McLean.
Yeah, I'd like to move the council approve the monetary donation for the amount not to exceed $1,705 to cover the memorial service venue rental costs from the council's contingency fund GL 1-2-221-01-01-04.
Did you get all your dashes? All right. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Chambers.
I'd like to propose an amendment to the motion on the floor that the amount would to be not to exceed $595. My reasoning for that is I do feel that it's responsible for the town to be assisting the family during this difficult time, but I do feel that there's been a tremendous outpouring of support as well from the community and the families in other avenues. Our council contingency fund is something we need to really consider the usage of. We need to think of this as a broader tax thing. And I think covering the venue cost specifically is a more responsible way to look at this overall while providing some relief for the family without overreaching and setting a precedent for future. So that's the amendment I'd like to make, is to change the amount to $595, which would be the off prime rate for a funeral service for the venue on its own.
I'm not quite sure how to deal with this actually, because essentially it's just changing that motion. I think we should probably vote on the first motion first. And if it's voted down, then we would proceed. I don't think we're essentially changing the motion. We're just changing the number. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Do we vote on the amendment first? Okay. All right. So do you have it, Ms. Leesmeister? Okay. So we are voting on the amendment. So we're voting. Now, is it $595 or is it $695? Because we're not quite sure what that number is.
Through the mayor to the rest of council, from the fee schedule that was I was able to obtain, it did indicate Monday to Thursday was $595, and I have confirmed it is for this Thursday.
Okay. All right. So we're voting on the amendment to change the amount from 1,700-ish down to $595. Okay, we have a motion. Councillor Dunn.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify with Councillor Chambers. So the 595, is that the room itself? Like yes, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so my intent would be that then we would be providing the venue, but any of the setup and associated costs of the venue would be responsibility of the families.
Any other thoughts, council? Councillor McLean.
I won't be supporting that. I think we need to cover the whole cost of the service there. And it's bringing the community together, it's actually bringing a couple of communities together and show support for the family in such a time. I think that the least council can do is to pick up the cost, and for a precedent setting, hopefully we never have to deal with something like this again in front of council.
I guess I'm going to put myself into line. I mean, I've struggled with this all week, and I think that this thing's gotten bigger than anyone here would have thought it would have gotten to last week. And for me, I think the real difference is if it was just the family, they could go to a church and fit everybody in. For me, I'm going to vote against the amendment because this facility is only required because of the additional community. I don't even want to use the word interest, but I don't know what other word there is. Concern, thoughts. And I really understand the implications of precedents, but I do think that this is a situation where the community is going to come together at a place. This is the only place where the community is going to fit. And I mean, I was in the initial meeting. The family, and I just like to make this clear that the family didn't ask for anything. They just asked for a place that they could share this really terrible thing that happened to them with the community. And because of that, and because of the I don't know, the ferocity of feelings I've gotten from the community, I think providing that space is important. Anyone else? All right. Okay. Councillor Dunn.
I will also be supporting the amendment. Basically, a lot of the comments that Kristen or Council Chambers made for that reason, but I have attended many memorials in the Hinton Centre. I understand what the mayor is saying, but I believe making the contribution of $5.95 is a way of us helping. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else in queue, we are voting on the amendment of changing the amount to $5.95. So can I see the motion, what we're voting on right now? Oh, there we come. So we are voting, and I'm not going to read the dots and the dashes, but we are going to amend the motion not to exceed $5.95. Please vote. Oh. I pressed the wrong button. What's the rule?
To the mayor, through the rest of council, I think the easiest way to just do a quick revote, reset, and then.
Thank you. And sorry, everyone. I feel like a dork. All right, please vote. All right, and that's been defeated. And voting against are LaBerge, Nelson, McLean, and Charlton. Thank you, everyone. So now we move over to the original motion. Can I please see that, Ms. Leesmeister? All right, so the motion's back on the floor that we cover up to the 1705. Council, before we go to vote, any other thoughts, any input anybody would like to have? Councillor Chambers.
Yeah, just further that I won't be supporting the motion as it's on the floor right now. Probably the hardest thing I've struggled with politically since coming on council, to be perfectly honest. But I just really, reading the policy and understanding our council contingency fund and the purpose of it, I just really struggle with using it for this purpose, understanding very, very much the passion, knowing the families, knowing the kids, all of those things. I just don't know if the council contingency fund is the place that this should be coming from. That's the only reason, quite frankly, I'd rather take it out of my own pocket. But with that in mind, as with my counselor hat on, not my regular citizen hat, I won't be able to support the motion on the floor.
Council, anyone else? Okay, with that, I call the question, the council approve a monetary donation in the amount not to exceed $1,705 to cover the memorial service venue rental cost for the, from the council contingency fund. And with that, I call it the question. Please vote. And that is passed 4-3. Voting against are Chambers, Dunn, and McDonald. Thank you, council. I knew that one was going to be tough. All right. Our second action item is Fleet Replacement Policy IN-3201, Administration.
I'll turn that over to Director McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, Council. In front of you this afternoon is the fleet replacement policy. You've discussed it twice at Committee of the Whole. We've made all the changes you're looking for, and we put it forward tonight in hope that we can properly manage our fleet and have the money in reserve to replace the equipment as it's needed going forward. Thank you.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you. I just wanted to double check. It's thrown me off a couple times, but we have the OBC from budget as part of this agenda package, but we're only talking policy, correct? We're not doing anything with this OBC by approving tonight?
Through the mayor to Councillor Dooley, no, that was just included for background information. Sometimes it's hard for people to follow if they're just reading this for the first time and haven't been following it all the way through. So sometimes we include just some of those extras as background information, and they were included there with the Committee of the Whole meetings as well. But no, you're only passing the policy itself.
Perfect. Thank you.
Council? Councillor Nelson.
Yeah, unless there's more discussion, I would like to move that council approves the fleet replacement policy IN-3201 as presented. Can I speak to it briefly? Thanks for the work that was done and everybody bearing with me the first time. I really look forward to seeing what the next budget looks like and how all of these requests are presented to us with, you know, the backing of this policy and everything tying back to the policy. So to me, I'm looking forward to having something that really helps our governance, especially for such a massive part of our budget. So appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Any thoughts? All right. Then I call to question the council approve the fleet replacement policy IN-3201 as presented. Please vote. And that one's passed unanimously. Thank you, council. And then we are on to correspondence, and under that is the Q3 2025-26 Community Policing Report.
To the mayor and rest of council, attached to this agenda is in fact the Q3 community policing report of the Hinton RCMP, and it's provided to you quarterly. This last quarter would have been ending at the end of December, and it is for your information. And should you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council? Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just curious in the future, I know there's an acting right now, so there's no current staff. But back in my first term, there was a new staff at the time named Murphy that did these as presentations, not as correspondence. So I'm just curious if moving forward, this will be the format or if the presentations would be.
Through the mayor to rest of council, Absolutely, that can be arranged. If you would like the detachment commander to come in and present these reports. I know that had been a previous practice that had stopped, but definitely be able to reach out to the acting or the new incoming detachment commander, which should arrive at the end of this month, to do that in the future if this is what mayor and council would like.
I think, and I don't know if it requires a motion like that. I think for, you know, in my first term with council, having a little bit of context and, you know, having somebody that understands the numbers to highlight things. I very specifically remember in our term, looking at the really high number of domestic violence charges that were laid, and understanding that came from actually enforcing rather than just knocking on a door and saying, please don't do that. And so I think it really helped, especially only being quarterly. For me, at least, I would love it as a presentation, because, you know, you guys are the ones that can highlight what is important. For us, it's just a bunch of numbers and graphs and makes it more challenging. So that'd be my preference. I'd look to the rest of council though. Thank you.
Councillor Chambers.
I totally agree with Councillor Nelson. I think that, you know, in my last term, we would occasionally have the staff sergeant come in, and what I found is that when I read the report versus when they talked about the report, it was completely different highlights. And so there was things that, you know, I wasn't quite picking up on that they were talking about. There's just the little bits of information. And it's also just nice to have that little bit of FaceTime. So do I think it's mandatory? Probably not. But I think, you know, especially with getting some new staff and understanding different challenges in the community, I think there's definitely some value to it. So I support that for sure.
And given the size of this line item in the budget, I think it's important. And so do we need administration? Is it good? It seems like there's a consensus. Do you want a motion?
Through the mayor to the rest of council, I don't believe that this would require a motion. I know the detachment commanders in the past have been more than willing to come and present. So it'll be an easy conversation with them to arrange that in the future.
Right. Thank you. I do have some questions. Maybe you can help. Maybe not. Maybe you got to go back. But when we're talking 6 of 19 positions that need to be filled, is there a particular reason why it at my last term on council, we didn't have a lot of vacancies? I'm just curious.
Through the mayor to the rest of council, I won't speak on behalf of the RCMP, but my previous knowledge, I do know that it is cyclical. So there are times and periods where there are transition periods where we lose somebody to a transfer, and the incoming replacement, one of two things: they're not identified anybody to come in, or number two, they've identified somebody, but they have a residence to sell at their home unit that they need to sell prior to moving. So there could be a few contributions or things contributing to that, and to the point of having the detachment commander here, I think you would be able to pose those questions and get those answers from the detachment commander.
That's the olden days when you knew that stuff. Well, I've got one more question, and I don't know what the stat is, but it's the percentage of member time spent on casework. And really what it does is it lays out how much time is there for community patrols and for community work. And I didn't see it in the report. I think that's a really useful statistic. And if you're talking to them, I would like to see that in the report.
Through the mayor to the rest of council, I can definitely make that request to the operations strategy branch to include that in the quarterly reporting that is provided to the Hinton RCMP and to Hinton Council.
Thank you. Council, anything else? We know everything we need to know about the police service. All right. And then it's on to reporting, and I'll start with the sorry.
I'll move that we accept Q3 2025-26 community policing report as information. Thank you.
Council, we have a motion on the floor. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. And oh, drat, I thought I was going to get through a meeting without a procedural flub. And now I had two of them. So thanks for everybody's patience. Now on to reporting, and I think I know the answer, but we'll start with Holiday Girl down at the end.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the library board meeting last night.
Oh, good for you.
And I just want to point out that there is a movie at Hinton Movies, March 25th, called The Librarians. And it's America's War on Books is More Than a War on Words. And it is a fundraiser for the Friends of the Library. And they're hoping to have a speaker come in and talk after the meeting, so whoever's in attendance can have a discussion. But just a little, some information. It's a documentary following a group of American librarians who find themselves on the front lines of the growing movement to challenge and remove books from public libraries and schools. So I would encourage anyone who can to attend. It's March 25th, and I'm sure there'll be lots of information on social media about it. Thank you.
It's interesting how librarians have become engaged that way. So
Absolutely.
it'll be interesting. Councillor McLean.
Yeah, nothing to report.
Councillor Charlton.
Thank you. Yes, I recently attended the Destination Marketing Organization meeting on Wednesday. It has been a little bit since we had our last meeting, so it was quite a bit of an update, which was a lot of really good information. We will be hiring a new executive director to replace Erin Reed, which will be a real loss for the DMO because she's done some real fabulous work that has really got the organization up to speed. Edgemar also did an update, and lots of good things are happening. It was great to see all of the hoteliers out there. There was a bit of a discussion on maybe how to increase some of our membership and what value that would mean. So overall, it was a great meeting. Also attended Community Futures meeting in Edson on Thursday. Had a great presentation from Prairie's Can that actually complimented the Community Futures West Yellowhead office on the work that they've been doing in our area. And Community Futures is actually celebrating their 40th anniversary with the Community Futures program. 27 Community Futures offices in Alberta. Something that's been a little bit difficult for some of those offices is the funding has usually been given in like a 5-year lump sum. So they know that that funding is coming year after year. And now that has been cut back to getting approvals for just 1 year at a time. So makes it a little bit difficult, but they're hoping that with some of the new announcements that it'll go back to a 5-year funding. So yeah, it was great to get together with other counselors again. And that's it for me.
It's interesting. They're turning 40. It's been like 20 years since they had a funding increase. Councillor Nelson.
I basically rode Natalie's coattails. We went to a lot of the same things. Only thing I have to add on the DMO is being in the early stages of trying to get this DMO off the ground. I don't think I understood how different it is having tourism professionals working on tourism rather than economic development or development services working on tourism. Hearing things about, you know, UNESCO geoparks and multiple adventure races that are going to be featured on all the different, you know, whether it's cable or streaming, and just that knowledge of that industry is it was very enlightening for me, and it was really interesting. Yeah, and then Community Futures, I think the other big change is they're looking to centralize some of the services. Right now, pretty much every office does all of their own things. So although it's a 1-year funding extension, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that might look like and how more best practices and resources can be shared between offices. Even if you have all the resources you want, you never can find the people to do those things anyway. So if there's a way to really share those best practices, I think it'll be great for Community Futures in Alberta. So very much looking forward to that. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Nothing to report.
Now it's your turn. Councillor Chambers.
I was jumping the gun.
The other holiday girl.
The other holiday girl doesn't have anything to report.
And for me, nothing to report. And with that,
Nothing to report.
okay, you've been busy this week, though. All right, and the last thing on the agenda. Oh, Councillor McLean, your spot in line.
Motion to adjourn.
Council. Don't imagine you're going to want to debate that one. Please vote. Oh. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone. That's a new land speed record. Oh, especially 15 minutes. 15 minutes dealing with procedure. Oh, get used to it. For God's sakes.
I was actually worried. I was like, if that meeting goes so fast, I'm not gonna make it there. Like, I can't, what's the meeting's a little.